Welcome to the Mindset Mutiny. I am your host, Mike Ivanov. Join me as we challenge the status quo, break free from self imposed limits, and redefine what's possible. What's up, everybody? Today, I have a little bit of a story that's going to be hard for me to kind of capture the moment that I'm going to talk about. And I'll have to work on telling this story over the years because it was one of the most emotionally moving experiences I've ever had in my entire life. So I want you to picture the most emotionally charged experience, right? Good emotion, where you started crying with joy, or started crying with understanding. I want you to picture that because that's what happened to me. Um, Very, very interesting, and it was happening in a place I never would expect. But it was very confirming, and it felt like the universe sent it to me because I needed to experience it to make some deeper decisions on where I was going in my life. So being as real as possible, this episode isn't super easy for me because not only am I, afraid that people aren't going to feel the weight of the story, or are going to think it's silly, but I have to sit here in front of you and say, I know how I felt in that story and in that situation. And it's something that I've never felt before. Um, So it's something that I need to share. So when I thought about telling this story or not, based on how people would receive it, I was kind of like, it doesn't matter because I know how I felt in that situation, and it doesn't matter how anybody else feels about how I felt. But I feel that the story needs to be told because I think maybe people can resonate with it because they've had moments in their lives, or need to be prepared for this moment that I had to be open to receive it. Right. So, whew, man, I'm getting just choked up thinking about it because it was special. So let's get started here. You know, a few days ago, I experienced something that changed me at a level that I didn't know was possible. Um, Dug out some emotion that I didn't know was there, and it didn't happen to me in a therapy session, and it wasn't a big life event. It happened on a beach in Mexico on a run, and it wasn't just a run. It was a moment that fueled me, brought me back to life, right? So the day before that run, I was in a shitty place in my head for some reason. So here I am on a beautiful trip, surrounded by paradise, sun, sand, beach, laughter, everything you would ever want. But inside was fucking miserable. I wasn't showing up as the best me. I was disconnected, which was then confusing. I just didn't feel any joy. I was in a place where I should be experiencing the most amount of joy, and I just wasn't, no matter how hard I tried. And it really scared me because for some reason I haven't felt that way in forever. Maybe it was because I was outside my routine in a place I was unfamiliar with. I don't know. And I still haven't figured out why I was feeling like that. But I know that when I feel like that, I need to do something. So I went to bed that night feeling bad for myself, heavy heart, sad, upset, wondering why I was so off, right? When everything around me was so perfect. And, I knew I was off because, starting like fights with my wife that on stupid shit that never would ever matter. I was nitpicking. I know we can all kind of relate to that when we're upset with something, we don't know where it's coming from, and then we lash out at others, right? So, gotta be really careful about that stuff, man. Because the loved ones take a beating for things that maybe we're not right within ourselves or we're not right with the world on, and those are the last people that should ever have to experience that. So I'm working on that. I've been working on that for many years, trying to be the best partner I can. But in that moment there, I popped up as a warning sign to myself that, oh shit, tomorrow morning I need to take some serious action to solve this, right? So I woke up the next morning. And I just knew I could feel myself kind of slipping mentally, right? Because I woke up feeling the same way. So I know when I feel that way, it's fuck this. I need to move. Um, That's a technique that I learned when I was at my worst, right? When I was facing those thoughts of taking my life, I would always get that rush come into my head and say, fuck this, I got to move, right? Um, so, a thing that worked for me for many years, I took and I executed, right? So I got up, I hit the gym, had a great fucking lift, if I remember, hammered out lats, right? Which is awesome. And I felt great. And, as I'm lifting, I'm looking in the mirror, right? Not because I'm vain. Well, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I love the mirror. Always have. Goes way back to when I was a kid. I loved looking in the mirror at myself. But hey, if you can't love yourself, you're not ready to love anybody else. But looking in that mirror, keeping that form right, just seeing the body working out. I'm like, all right, man, like here, feeling better. I'm moving like I'm supposed to be, right? So it's like looking in the mirror is confirmation for my mind that, like, all right, here we are putting in the work. We're going to feel better. We're going to feel better. So I felt great, right? Started feeling better. I'm like, all right, this is the momentum I need. I got to carry this. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go hit the beach and I'm going to run, right? I didn't want to run. Just like I always talk about, I never want to fucking run. Who likes to run? I mean, nobody except for Ben Kelly. I think he truly likes to run. I always talk about how much I hate running. He's like, I just love it, dude. So anyway, everybody except for Ben hates running, right? So I go out and I run on that beach, right? So I hit my run. Just, the first bit of the run always sucks, right? Still in my head, still feeling sorry for myself, or just wondering why I'm not feeling 100% better, right? I'm carrying this invisible weight on my back. And then out of nowhere, right? It's fucking hot too, right? So, I got a black shirt on, which is like the dumbest decision to go run in Mexico on a beach with a black shirt on. And I'm a pretty pale skinned guy. So, taking my shirt off and running down the beach, knowing that the rest of the day I'm going to spend on the beach, probably not a good idea either. So there I am running down the beach, black shirt on, enjoying the view, trying to be happy. Right. And then out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, this guy shows up on my left shoulder. Like, what the fuck? Where did this guy come from? I didn't hear him coming up on me. I didn't see him. What's going on here? So he's a local guy, barefoot, no headphones, no gear, no shoes, just him in the sand. So he looks over at me. We happen to look over at the same time, and he smiles at me. So I smile back. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, all right, yeah, this guy's going to show me that I am running too slow and he's just going to blow past me. And he just wants to rub it in or something, right? So I'm like, all right, it's all good. I've been working on my ego, right? Jiu-jitsu's been helping me with that, trying to keep the ego in check. So I'm like, whatever, this guy's going to run faster than me. I'm not going to chase him. I'm out here running for a different reason. But he doesn't do that. He didn't fall back. He didn't peel off. He just stayed with me, stride for stride. No words. We were just there together. It was crazy. I just am still thinking back, like, as a human being, you're pretty aware of like things around you, right? Most of the time, people can't sneak up on you. You've got like this eye in the back of your head where you can feel this shit. This guy just showed up. Like, he wasn't there. And then all of a sudden, zoop, there he is. Like the universe put him there. Don't get lost on me when I say that, but it was so wild. And the feeling that I was experiencing that I still cannot put into words today. How I felt when he just showed up there. I can't explain it. I think that's what's so powerful about it too. I can pretty much put most things into words. No words. But that presence, something in me cracked open. Right? It hit me like a wave. Because that's when I realized that we didn't speak the same language. We didn't need to come from the same place. We were just two men, two souls running together. And we were the same. I swear to you, it felt like a dream. I don't even know if I'm explaining it right, but it literally felt like something divine. It's crazy. This man, this barefoot stranger who pulled up beside me, smiled, and then fucking locked in stride for stride. It was a special moment. And I know he felt it too. He didn't just run with me, he appeared for me. He showed up out of nowhere, no footsteps, no warning. Boom, he's there. Moving like he belonged in my story. And for a few miles, it felt like time bent. Like we were the only two people on that beach. No crowd, no noise, just the crash of the waves, our breath, the beat of our heart, and what I believe, the rhythm of two lives intersecting for reasons I still can't fully understand. It was mythical. Like something ancient, like this was bigger than just two men running. It was the kind of moment you hear about in legends, that the guide showing up when the student is ready. The silent warrior appearing just long enough to remind you who you really are, and then vanishing back into the world. Because that's what he did. Just as fast as he showed up, he was gone. No goodbye, no closure, no see you around. Just a glance, a shared silence, quick hug, turned and disappeared down the beach. If I'm being honest with you, even now, I question if any of it even happened. Was he real? Was I hallucinating? Was that the universe showing me a piece of my soul I hadn't met yet? The only reason I know it wasn't a dream is because as I reached for his hand right before we locked up for a half hug, I could feel the sweat of his palm in mine. I could feel the sweat on his shoulder when I reached around to give him a hug. But explain that to me. Two people run on a beach, can't speak the same language, complete strangers from different walks of life, different beliefs, different everything. Meet each other for the first time, run, and it ends, with a hug. And it leaves me walking away with emotion that I've never felt before. What the fuck is that? It's something special. But that heat in his hand, that contact, that human confirmation, that's how I know it was real. And it's burned into me forever. That wasn't just a workout. It wasn't just exercise. It was a visitation. A moment when something divine reached into my life. At the exact second I was doubting my mission, my calling, my purpose, questioning everything, and whispering to myself, maybe I'm not built for this. And instead of giving me a sign, a billboard, or a quote in a book, the universe sent me that man. Barefoot, silent, unapologetically real. A fucking mirage that breathed fire back into my chest and then gone. Just me standing there, hands still warm, tears in my eyes, knowing with everything in me that I just lived through something sacred. That man didn't just run with me. He gave me back a piece of myself. I'm still shook over it. So I sat down afterward. I was renting one of the beachfront cabanas, right? And I sat down. I needed something to drink, right? Still kind of shaking. I still got tears in my eyes. And I start to think about it. And I'm still thinking about it right now, even decide if I'm even doing the story justice for all of you. And I just start to break down. I start crying. Like tears of joy, tears of like confirmation, just tears of the whole moment, like, how special was that? How could this happen for me when I was needing something from the world that delivered? Um, I knew it was like a once in a lifetime thing that I coulda hit that beach tomorrow to go find that person, and I'd run for 30 miles and never find him. Just 2 stories collided, and it's just so special. So, yeah, there I was crying for quite for a decent amount of time. This emotion hung around. And it's hard for me to tell you, like, I'm sitting there crying, and people, maybe some of you are like, "Hey, this guy went for a run, now he's crying. What the fuck's wrong with this guy?" But then others are sitting there saying, "Mike, I've had that moment, or I'm ready for that moment to appear in my life, and it will. You have to be open for it." So, I sat down, and I'm going through all the emotions and starting to journal about it, to be honest. And the universe shows up again. Benny, he works at the resort. So he walks up to me. We start chatting. Amazing English. So we were able to communicate quite quickly. We connected over running. He was telling me his story about running, showing me one of the runs he did in Cancun that he loved. Talked about wanting to do, the Cancun half marathon, and then he had said some things to me, a little bit about his journey. He's on a weight loss journey, and he's on a growth journey. And you mentioned that stuff to me, and I'm just going to open up immediately about it, right? So we started talking about mindset. And I had mentioned to him, one of the runs I have that's coming up that's scaring the shit out of me. I told him about the 20-mile trail race that I'm going to do with Ben. He thought that was cool. But we didn't hang on it for too long. We just kind of started talking a little bit further and getting to know each other and whatnot. And about an hour later, which is wild because I'm still sitting after he left, I'm still sitting there in all these emotions, still getting waves of emotion coming back, tears coming back, all these things. And I'm just sitting there saying, wow, I'm so thankful to have been able to receive these moments. And then it was so great to build this quick connection with Benny, which I thought was just kind of over, but it wasn't. So about an hour later, I see Benny walking like down the beach with another guy, and they're carrying a chair. And he comes up. It's like a lounge chair with a towel on it, and it's reclined. So it's like a nice kind of surface to do something with, right? So he brings his chair over, puts it right in front of me. He's like, "Hey, it's just something I wanted to share with you." Um, and on it says, "Let's go for those 20 miles." And it was done beautifully, just the way that he wrote it all out in the sand. So it was written in sand. There was a couple like finish line flags. There was a guy kind of running, and it just says, "Let's go for those 20 miles." So I didn't know what to do at that moment, right? Because I was, Benny didn't know all the emotions I was experiencing up until that, right after this run with this barefoot guy on the beach, right, with this divine angel that was sent down to run with me, right? He didn't know all that emotion was in me. He brought this over to me, and I just, again, was like, the tears started coming harder. Thank God I had glasses on, because they were like dripping down my face. And that might have been a lot for somebody to experience that didn't know me or what I was carrying or my journey or where I've been or the struggles I've been through, and the growth that I've had, all these things. But that meant so much to me. So all I could do was I stood up, I gave him a hug. Uh, that's it. And then, you know, I told him my story, the story of the darkest moments of my life and how I dug out of them. And he shared with me that he, was on a similar type of journey. Um, he told me that fitness saved him. Mindset changed his life. So I'm sitting there, two strangers, but the same fire, the same battle, the same resurrection. And here's the thing, Benny didn't owe me anything. Could have gone on with his day, could have smiled, been polite, walked away, but he didn't. He saw me. He heard me. He took my pain and he handed me a message in return. Let's go for those 20 miles. That wasn't just encouragement. That was a challenge. That was a belief in me, a belief in my purpose, a belief that I still have more inside of me. In that moment, standing there with the sun in my eyes, looking at Benny, my soul cracked wide open. I knew I wasn't just being comforted. I was being called to keep pushing, called to stop doubting, called to rise, called to face what I'm meant here, what I'm put here and meant to do. So Benny, a stranger just hours before, becomes a brother, a lighthouse, a mirror that reflected back the strength that I had forgotten. Benny gave me something I didn't even know I still needed. Gave me hope, gave me confirmation. He saw me and said, Mike, the work you're doing, that fucking matters. And I love him for that. I'll remember him forever. This wasn't about running. It wasn't about vacation. This was about being seen, about presence, about showing up in your pain and finding life waiting for you in the stride. That barefoot man didn't just run beside me. He reminded me who the fuck I am. And Benny, he delivered the confirmation I've been searching for. You can't plan moments like that. You can only be open to receive them. Because when you're chasing a mission bigger than yourself, when you're pouring your heart into something you believe in, there are going to be moments of doubt. Moments when the path looks blurry, when the fire you carry starts to feel like a burden instead of a gift. And in those moments, you don't need a motivational quote. You need a miracle in motion. That's what this was. The universe didn't just whisper, it fucking roared at me. It used two men, one silent, one smiling, to remind me that the work I'm doing fucking matters. That the energy I'm putting into the world is real. That the way I show up, broken and honest, still moving, is exactly right. This wasn't a sign to keep going. This was a confirmation that I already am. It was a divine checkpoint. A reminder that I don't need to become someone else. I just need to keep becoming more of who I already am. It was just special. It brought together everything I believe in: movement, mindset, presence, discipline, connection. And it reflected it back to me through two strangers who I now call brothers. It was special because it came when I didn't expect it. I didn't ask for it and almost didn't show up for it. I almost didn't go on that fucking run. Imagine that. One choice to go on that run changed so many things for me. It gave me a story I will tell for the rest of my fucking life. One small, tiny choice, and this all happened because of it. It was special. It reminded me that even after years of healing, years of growing, years of fighting, there's still more waiting for me. More connection, more clarity, more purpose. And now I carry that moment with me. Not as a memory, but as proof. Proof that I'm not just on the right path. I am the path. So to anyone who feels numb, lost, heavy, you need to hear this. You are not alone. You don't need all the answers. You just need to move because when you move, the universe moves with you. And maybe, just maybe, a barefoot stranger will show up. Or maybe a man named Benny will leave you a message in the sand. But you won't find it sitting still. Move, run, show up broken, and let the world show up for you. Thanks, everybody. This felt very special. Have a great day.